the actual.
Yes,
Let me pull it up then.
we are now. Literally should be.
Do. I'm going to mute that.
Okay. Yes, we are live. We are live.
Huzzah!
Yay! We're live.
We
Again,
did it!
yes. To all of you who are like, wow, Janine, you said this time you're going to be on time for your live streams. I only do these once every month or every couple of months. So eventually I will actually write a procedure down, but it's not always intuitive. But anyway, I'm here with the awesome RJ Metcalf, and we're going to have a great time talking. So shout us out there. Hey there, Marilyn. Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
So we are super excited, and I'm glad to have Becky here. She was like, it was great because I just showed up on her messenger. I said, hey, you want to come on? And she's like, okay. And I'm like, do you know how to stream? And she's like, I stream all the time. I'm like, we're good.
I just have to remind myself that I'm not streaming Minecraft right now, and I'm here as my author name and not my Minecraft YouTube name. So if I refer to myself in the third person as Lee, I truly know who I am. It's okay. That's just my Minecraft name.
My Minecraft knowledge would be very limited. Like I've only played Minecraft Dungeons, like period. That's pretty much it.
If you ever want to talk Minecraft, I could talk for like 4 hours straight, I'm sure.
You know what? Maybe after I see have you seen the Minecraft movie? I'm assuming you have seen the Minecraft movie.
I have opinions.
Okay. So maybe when I get around to that, I'll bring you back on because I'll come as someone. Again, I come in bringing my usual nerdiness of pulling the things apart, but then I talk to someone who has opinions who's like, oh no, let me tell you what they did right and wrong. And I love that. Yeah. Oh, yay. The other RJ is here. So glad you guys can make it. And anyone else who is here, feel free to give us a shout out in the chat box. We're just going to be hanging around here for a little bit before we dive in. And we're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters tonight. So in the chat, shout if you've seen it. Shout if you've seen it like more than once. Some of us here might have seen it like way more than once.
Are we supposed to confess numbers tonight?
I will not judge you. I mean, this is not one I've seen like over and over, but there are others. And I have actually, I listened to the songs on repeat before I watched it because the songs just got me. So I just kept listening to the songs.
See, okay, that's interesting because when I first saw it, I only knew that people had been talking about it, that it was some popular movie. I had not listened to the songs. For once in my life, I had not looked up any of the spoilers. I hadn't been on Pinterest to see anything on Pinterest. Like, I went in knowing nothing.
Whoa.
And now I've seen it over 24 times.
Hey,
and
we celebrate the fandom here. There is no judgment.
I think it's been 4 weeks since I first saw it. I hope it's actually 5. Please let it be 5. We're going to say 5. 5 sounds a little healthier mentally. So...
Also, Marilyn, I absolutely need to see the Minecraft movie sometime. And if I do, Lord, when I do, Becky will come back on here and we will talk about it because it will be awesome. But I'm back at the K-pop Demon Hunters. I have a confession. I have only seen it once, but I have, and to be fair, when it came out was a very tumultuous time in my life. I think I referenced that in other things. When you have people unexpectedly getting hospitalized, life just gets crazy. So this whole crazy things was happening while I was in the hospital, like not thinking about this. But then once I finally came out of like, I should see this movie. And then I was like, this is like a big phenomenon. I need to see this movie. And then I'm like, I think we need Netflix, Steven. I need to see this movie.
It was one of those things where my husband had mentioned like, oh yeah, this movie, it sounds like it might be something up our alley. And I'm like, probably, but school just started. I am in such a teacher mode right now. I don't have brain cells to consider something else that's probably a fun watch, but we'll do it later. And then my friend Heather made a comment and she's like, hey, I just saw this and it was really good. And I'm like, okay, we have similar tastes in movies. Cool. And then Lorianne saw it and she's like, hey, this is really good. You should see it. And I'm like, okay, maybe we should see it sometime sooner rather than later, because if they're wanting to geek out about this, then I should probably have an idea of what's going on. And then we watched it, and the next morning, I showed it to my kids. It was a school day. I was like, no, we're not doing school today. This is school. We're doing cultural stuff. And
I love
we did
I
do a
love
dive
a
into
geeky
actual
homeschool
like
mom. I do love a geeky homeschool mom here. That makes me really happy.
we did then do a dive in like some Korean culture things and like traditional legends and myths of Korean. We went into Korean food, which I have a both are very finicky eaters, and so anything different is not something they have any interest in. But they were curious, and so we talked about different foods, which was this mother's like dream of like, look, we're talking about foods and everyone's interested right now because they like it, and so they're interested. Huh.
Yes.
But like we just did this whole dive into that. So we watched it that morning, and then Mike got home, and I'm like, we should watch it again, and we watched it again that night. And it's a thing. Hey,
There is
consolation.
There is
Like,
absolutely no judgment here. Super. This is actually one of the reasons when you skip talking about it, I'm like, okay, I need to do something with this. I've been listening to the soundtrack a ton, which that sometimes, especially if it's musicals, I'll get into the music first. So like for Greatest Showman, I listened to the soundtrack for weeks and then
okay,
finally saw
same.
it. But I'm okay. I'm listening to this. I'm checking out the stuff. This is a big cultural thing. This is sci-fi and fantasy. And then I watch it. And I'm like, oh, I have so many thoughts. Oh my goodness. Okay. So then I was like, okay, Becky,
So
you're
so
like, keep
you've
talking about it. Let's go. Let's go.
you've only seen it one time. So I
I
just
have only seen one time.
is it safe to presume that you have not gone down the rabbit hole then of learning the dance moves yet?
Oh my goodness. I haven't, but I have done some of the workout videos.
Because the boys and I for PE in school, we are learning both Soda Pop and Your Idol. And the problem with this, other fellow adults who are drivers, the concern at this point is when you're in the car and suddenly we get to like Your Idol and you're going like this in the car and you realize, this happened today, true story, and you realize as you're sitting at the red light that there is a cop car behind you. And you're just like, I promise, sir, like I'm not on anything. I'm just listening to music. The whole car is like vibrating because I have it up so loud. Like I'm just dancing to the music. It's fine. It's all fine here.
You know what? You know what?
So don't learn to
Sometimes
dance. It's bad when you drive.
you were that person who is like broadening that police officer's mind to new types of people in the world. And there we go.
I
Yes. Oh,
mean, it's a thing.
Constellation's here. Hey, Constellation. And RJ Conti, did you say you were in the hospital? No, I was not. At the time, I was visiting my mother-in-law, who at that time was, well, on her way to passing on to Jesus. And so that is the reason why I was not present at that time and not for a bunch of weeks afterwards. I was kind of like, I was in my comfort movie and reading stage then. It took me a bit to actually want to watch anything new, which is fair.
That's normal and
That's
good.
completely normal. Yep. So anyway, that's for another time. But the point is, I then watched it and I'm like, I love this. And again, the music got me first because they have some,
It's so
they
good.
worked hard. They worked hard. So we're going to like dive into this now because it is awesome. We are going to be, by the way, if you haven't seen it, guys, there are going to be spoilers.
Please, please
Like
go
this
watch
is
this.
not a spoiler-free zone. Now, if you don't mind that, I don't mind spoilers. I live on spoilers. I eat them for breakfast. But if you're not that person, then you might want to wait to listen. Or for those of you, for those of you who are listening to this later, come back and listen to this podcast later.
Yeah.
But if
Pause
you're
this,
watching it
go
live,
watch it.
I mean, like you can like literally have this open up, like have it on your TV while you're watching the live stream. We won't
Mhm,
really stop
mhm.
you there. But yeah, that is where all of that is. And there will be all the spoilers because we're going to dive into the good, we'll just say it, the good, the bad, the weird, the strange, the marketing choices, the what are they going on there, the world building. We are going to do all the things here, especially from a storytelling perspective and marketing perspective, because we're geeks and this is what we
That's
do.
what we do.
This is what we do. Like, why else? Like, it's really funny. People go, why do you want to do this? I'm like, excuse me. Like, I was raised that you love to like pick apart and shred movies. That's like a sci-fi and fantasy geek thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't like pick it apart, you don't really like it.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Because I mean, okay, this is a huge phenomenon. Like, I mean, it was this big thing before I even realized it was a thing. And why is it a thing? Like, clearly something is working with this,
Yeah.
despite certain things where you're kind of looking, you're like, if this is a thing and this is a thing, this should be kind of horrifying, actually. Like, what? And
And yet,
yet, it has
and
grabbed
yet.
so many. I mean, I I want to say at this point, thinking about it, I've probably seen this as many times as Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, and I've had a couple
Oh.
years to work on that. Like, this is not a normal thing. I don't have time to watch movies, and yet for this one particular movie, I will totally take the time. My kids know that this is a fly trap for mom. If they
Oh
want me to hang
gosh.
out in the TV room, if they want me to forget working on anything, they will turn this on and they will literally turn the volume up until I hear it. And they know I will show up within about 5 minutes or less, and I'm going to plant myself on the couch and I'm going to sit and watch with them.
And
It's a thing.
this is why I had to bring RJ onto the show here. So for those of you who are unaware, do a quick introduction here of who we are. This is the Author Culture Podcast, where we're all about sustainable success for authors with a side of speculative fiction that is sci-fi and fantasy, because I'm a sci-fi and fantasy author, and that is my specialty area. So we do storycraft tips, world building tips, marketing guidance, advice on how to navigate the chaotic publishing world. And also we do fandom joy. And my awesome special live stream co-host here is the amazing RJ Metcalf, also known as Becky. So I might be referring to her as RJ Metcalf or Becky. They're both valid. And if I say the other RJ, we have another RJ in the chat box. So that is what's going on there.
I love you.
So, with all of that going on, tell us a little bit about yourself, Becky, and well, I mean, for all the authors listening or geeks
I
listening,
mean,
what
as
what
far
do
as
you do? What you got going on? You got some books out there right here.
I do. So, as my RJ Metcalf is my pen name, and I have steampunk fantasy. So, airships, dragons, magic, it's steam everything. I had to sit down with my engineer dad and figure out my engine room that would actually legitimately work, like that kind of detail for that. Um, so I have 5 books that are out for steampunk fantasy, and at this point, because I'm also a full-time homeschool teacher mom and administrator for our community group, I can't quite make the brain cells work to have all those voices writing stories in the back of my brain. So at the moment, I have a YouTube channel for Minecraft, and I have Minecraft episodes and live streams for that, because that's a little bit easier as far as all the storytelling, but it still gives me my creative outlet. But I still have a book that I have been sitting on the edits since 2019. And I have the goal in mind that I will actually get to that within the next 2 years or less. And now that I've just said this live, that means y'all can hold me to that. Oh no, what have I done? So,
Which means at some point you're going to like have to not have this weakness of K-pop demon hunters getting you to
why
stop
would you
doing
say such a
homeschooling.
thing?
You're going to have to overcome this.
But I don't want to.
Well, just kind of put it in a healthy perspective with other fandoms. But I mean, for fandoms, the initial burst is a real moment. Like it is, it's a
The
thing.
hyperfixation is
Yeah, the
real.
hyperfixation, and then afterwards, it joins everything else, and that's fine. It becomes like still the outsider probably comes across as kind of like a bit abnormal, but like for you, you're like, oh no, well it's this and this and this and this, and I have encyclopedic knowledge of all of them. But like that first initial like months, and I mean, I can't say anything for like Lord of the Rings movies came out when I was a teenager, so like every single
Yup.
year there were line parties, which again my mom stood in line with me for the line parties because that's what moms do. She was also a homeschool mom.
It was my
Yes.
dad for me, yeah.
And she dressed up as a hobbit both times. So you know what? This is what you do. So
I need to
sometimes
meet your mom.
sometimes you need to just kind of ride the wave. And at the other
Yep.
side, you know, it's gonna come back to being like one of your most awesome fandoms versus like the core fandom. But that is a moment. And for any of you out there who have not seen K-pop Demon Hunters, all like one or two of you, according to I think this is probably one of the like the weakest summaries of it. I actually went on IMDb figuring, okay, IMDb has got to be like, you know, they can do this, right? So
Yeah,
K-pop
do they
Demon
not?
Hunters, IMDb, they should know how to summarize a story, give it a really basic basic write-up. All they say is a world-renowned K-pop girl group balanced their lives in the spotlight with their secret identities as demon hunters.
Seriously, that's what they have.
I mean, it definitely avoids spoilers. That's all they got. That's all they got. So, I mean, IMDb, I mean, props for avoiding spoilers, but I do have to
Yeah.
also say I am slightly not impressed with your summary skills. But just to unpack this for anyone who's unaware
Yeah.
of K-pop or any of that, so it's a K-pop girl group. So we're talking about K-pop, which is pop from Korea, which has its own. It is definitely its own thing versus American pop music. It has its own style. It's everything. It's been going on for many decades. It is its own thing. K-pop girl groups have their own vibe to them. This one was definitely stylized. I think they said after like a girl crush group, things like Blackpink, that kind of stuff. Very much like,
Twice.
yeah. And they have their lives in the spotlight. They're in Korea. They're South Korea. They're just as popular as pop music is here. I would always say also because it is in fact a smaller country. Like there's just a lot. Like you can get the whole country just totally wild for it. When the U.S. we're kind of spread out, so everyone can kind of like you can have a lot of popular pop stars.
And we have all our American subcultures for where people are. So that
Yeah.
demographically is different. South Korea,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a whole thing because it's a smaller country and that's how it goes. So they have secret identities as demon hunters. From this vibe, you almost think they're like superheroes or something, which is not quite it. But as we talk about later, I think that probably did help to contribute to everything. While this thing is very much stylized as a Korean K-pop thing, I think one of the reasons for success is if you unpack it, it actually piles a lot of genres in there. So it has that broad appeal beyond what they'll say, oh, it's like a Sailor Moon, or oh, it's just like, and I'm watching it going, dude, I know urban fantasy like the back of my hand. Do you know how many urban fantasy tropes are in this, complete with the 400-year-old like demon dude and the sassy, feisty, like, I don't know, 20 something, like, I have like every single urban fantasy couple ever, like, check. So it really like captures a lot of different stuff. So I think it really qualifies as a genre mashup, even though it stylizes itself very much as a Korean thing. It's got a lot of things going on it. And of course, if you know K dramas and everything, they love a genre mashup as well. So that's actually also very cultural to do a genre mashup because that's what a lot of K dramas are. It's like genre mashup, but also the expected tropes. So we're going to just dive right head over heels into this, and it's going to be fun. And the first thing we're going to talk about is actually the story because stories happen. And like, this is not so much like we're going to talk about mostly the character arcs and those things because this is a very character driven story, in case you haven't.
And it's fantastic. My love, how you get me into a story is that you have to have good characters.
Yep.
World building, I can forgive world building that's, like, I'm just not gonna look twice at this because if I look twice at this, it's gonna crumble. Like, I can forgive
Yeah.
that if the characters are characters I can relate to. If the characters have a vulnerability where you're just like, oh, we have to protect them. If the characters have some sort of, they're kind of morally gray and okay, they made a good decision here, and that was a really bad decision, bro. Like, when you have things like that, okay, I'm in for that. I want to see them rise. I want to see them fall. I want to see all those things. Give me a character driven story, and I'm in for it. And that's probably why I've seen this as many times as I have, because it's got that.
It really does. They bring the characters, and that's definitely where like the main investment in the story is. And we'll talk about later with the world building. But we mentioned this in our pre live stream session. The world building's a bit of a dumpster fire. As I was doing my like research for it, like in bits and pieces, looking behind the scenes. And yes, I hopped into the dark depths of Reddit and saw what they were discussing and everything. I just went like, okay, what are we doing? And people are like, this actually doesn't logic towards the end. I'm like, it doesn't. But it works in spite of that. And I think it actually works because of that, which we're going to get to in a bit. So hang around for that because we have thoughts about how the messy world building actually increases this one's popularity, which is also one of those things, which is why I don't fit in with the cool world building kids because they're like, and world building is sacred. And I'm like, some of the best stuff, the world building is just like, what are we even doing? Like it.
Just don't look twice behind the curtain,
don't
okay?
Think about it. Don't think
just
about
don't.
it. So it's a bit of a hot mess, but in some ways that actually makes it more interesting. But we obviously have like this main character arc with Rumi. She's the protagonist. We focus on her the most. And there were some definitely people who were like, the other two got shortchanged. And I'm like, we had to tell a very tight movie because also this is a PG rated movie.
And
And
it was
so we're
supposed to
aiming.
be 3 hours.
Oh, I
And they
believe it was edited down. That makes so
It was supposed to be
much
3 hours. They
sense.
cut down so much. There are certain things they
Oh
cut
my
down that I am not
goodness. Yeah.
salty about. This is fine. This is fine. It's fine. But you know what? It's fine because it's a good tight story, and I
Yes.
love that. But we were shortchanged, bro. There were so many things that we could
I
have
could
had.
see it. You can tell when things are like edited wrong. And I think, especially when you have any sense of someone who is, if you've edited any kind of video, and I'm not claiming to be an amazing video editor, but I do edit my own podcasts visually, you can kind of see where the cuts are. And you can
Hmm.
see, like, wait, that was a really tight cut. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, that was supposed to go on. I can tell they cut the dialogue off that close because you just kind of get used to it. And I
Hmm.
think you can cover it a bit more when you're doing animated because you just kind of tweak the animation to match. It's not like in movies where you can like the people's mouths move and you're like, wait a second. But
I see what
still,
you did there.
that it makes sense. This thing was trimmed very short, but also
Yeah.
it's PG and they wanted to bring in the younger audience. Honestly,
Hmm.
this one, I could see this easily have been a PG-13 animation, but I think
Yeah.
Netflix was like, yo, we want to hit a broad market appeal. We want 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds to be doing these costumes for Halloween. You do not get to put the PG 13 content in here because that's going to narrow the appeal, and we're not sure how much people are going to catch on to this. Because there were definitely things I'm like, wow, they could have
Well,
gone
they didn't
places that, and
expect
they did
it.
not.
They
Yeah,
didn't
they
expect it
didn't.
to do
Like they were
well.
taking a risk on this one. Yeah.
And I kind of feel bad for Sony because they just cut the flat deal instead of the percentage deal, and they weren't expecting it to blow up, and bashoom.
Yeah, so they were
So
playing this very safe. And okay, RJ asks real quick, RJ Conte, on characters though, what do you say to the critique that Zoe and Mira are flat and stereotypical? I don't think they're flat and
I don't think so.
stereotypical. I think
Mm-mm.
that they had to be reduced in screen time to keep it to the running time, and that if you judge it purely based on the runtime movie, then yes, they are flat and stereotypical. But I don't think they were written to be that way intentionally. I think there were definitely things and stuff left open. Like they set it up for oh, which one's the redhead? I always get the names mixed
Mira,
up with Mira. They set it up
because I'm
for
gonna be
her
here
to
for
be
Halloween.
like the wild to be the wild child and bring up that sort of classic conflict, and then, Zoe to be the one who's like, interethnic, intercultural.
She, Korean mom, American
Yeah,
dad,
they
grew up in
set these things
Burbank. Like,
they set these things up, but then they just didn't have time to fulfill it. You could just tell that these things had gotten cut back a ton.
well, like we had, there was a deleted scene with Zoe and everything where she had been bullied in
Hmm.
school and everything because she was a big fan of the Sunlight Sisters
Hmm.
and everything. That would have been fascinating to see as, we have someone who's already dealing with the like, am I more American, am I more Korean? Like, I'm a bit too much for this and I'm not enough for this, like the
Hmm.
two worlds. And then, well, okay, I have my music, I have this, and now even that's being made fun of at school. Like, that would have been fascinating. And if we actually get the backstory that they're saying that we might be actually getting, I'm hoping we get that scene and everything to we can kind of get a little bit more of Zoe, a little bit more of Mira, because we had to keep it on Rumi because she's the main protagonist and we have such a tight time frame. We got to complete this story and have this well rounded. Otherwise, I mean, we would have been feeling kind of perturbed and not as thrilled about this if, oh, well, it's evenly between the three. And that means we didn't get a full story of any of them. Like, at least we got a full story with Rumi and her arc. So maybe we can get some of the others later.
Yeah,
Like,
had this been a mini series or a proper
mm-hmm.
like one season K drama kind of thing, you could have gotten so much more depth in this, or
Yes.
like a one season anime or something, you would have gone so much deeper. And you could almost tell, I think, when they were originally writing it, they were writing it to do that kind of thing where you follow these three different
Mm-hmm.
arcs. But guess what? When you're doing one movie, and you have to make it tight and it's a risk, the producers are going to be looking over your shoulder saying, whoa, we need a protagonist. No, they're
Uh,
not all protagonists. Nope, nope, that is not going to work. We don't know how it's going to show. Netflix is notorious for canceling stuff that works, man. They're brutal. I
Mm-hmm.
still haven't forgiven them for Shadow and Bone or a couple other things. Yo, you guys just take everything to the chopping block. So, like, they are unafraid to cut things that work, that have a fan base. So they're making this like as maximum appealing as possible and then hoping to
Mm-hmm.
see what it goes. But back to Rumi, we have the classic story of hiding who she is, except it also kind of doesn't. The hiding makes sense. And I
And
was
again,
watching
we're
one.
going to shame culture too.
We're going to shame culture. They
Like
kind
that's a
of like
shame
threw
culture.
things in there. I wanted to see more of the shame culture explored, but it really felt like they just had to put things, smash things all together. And I was really like,
But that also makes sense because I mean, the the gal who made this is Korean Canadian.
right, right.
She's from two different cultures. Like she's lived in that mashup. And I feel like there's a lot of things where from a author perspective, I feel like, oh, that feels very but talking to friends who are from a double background, from
Dual
a
background,
like dual background type of thing, they're like, oh
intercultural.
no,
They are the
that's the
offspring of an
words.
intercultural marriage.
Yes.
There we go.
Like talking to friends, in that regard, they're like, oh no, this is the kind of mashup we're used to, where it's a bit of this, it's a bit of that. There's things that, my dad does and it's never been explained, but apparently this is, how we do things back in his home country. And there's like, and for them, that's just part of life. And I kind of enjoy that with the movie because there's things that to me as an author, I'm going, we need to hang a lantern on this. Like, we need to have an idea of this. But looking at it from a different perspective, a different cultural view, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And that's something that I have enjoyed being able to then go through on some of my extra watches and, kind of try to pick out like, is this a different cultural type thing where like this is just a mashup because that's how it is when you're growing up with two different cultures in the household? And is this just a storytelling? We could have done that a smidgen smoother. We could have maybe explored that with just a line here or a little thing there. Like it's fun to try to pick those out and then run those past friends who are in that intercultural perspective and be like, what do you think of this list? Like,
No, that is fair. And thank you for pointing that out. That idea of just, I think it's that, and this is something that kept coming up as I was doing my evaluation with this is a wonderful example of the cross between authorial vision and that uniquely coming through the story. And I mean, I still consider her an author. She just authored a movie, but she is the creative vision behind it. She was very much involved in all the parts. This is her story on the screen. She authored this story. This was, as far as everything we know, this was her vision. So I still consider her an author, just as a visual author, which looks different. And when you're doing that, there's always a push between having that vision and having it really connect at the same time. And there's always that push pull of trying to figure out, okay, what is authentic to what I've gone through and that part of my story and that part of my self-expression. But then how am I going to make this something where, as I communicate it, the viewer is going to come on board, connect with that, and then also take that vision and then probably internalize it in a different way because they don't have my background, but we're still going to be able to share and enjoy the same message. And it gets messy, it gets complicated. And then I think often when you just hit enough of the right things, you can still have that great connecting point, even though you did it with one reason and maybe they are perceiving it for another reason. And I think that back and forth is actually a really big theme around the success of this movie
it's like there's
overall.
so many things that you could read into it from different backgrounds and different
And
points of
people
view,
have.
different like, and it's been fascinating. And that was one of the reasons why I was actually kind of curious when the girls were finally mentioning like they'd see it and they liked it. I'm going, okay, I just saw this person post and say it was the most amazing thing since sliced bread because everything about it is Christian. But then I saw like three scrolls down, someone saying that it's awful and horrible because it's all demons and demonic. And this thing is going to like you watch it and you go straight to hell. And then this person is saying you have to watch it for the music because the music is the next best thing. And like, I'm getting so many varied perspectives on this. I kind of need to watch this and get my own, what do I think of this? Because everyone is reading it in different ways. And I'm curious. And then I'm on multiple different social media platforms, many of which are on far extremes
Yeah,
of
yeah.
not my background, and seeing their read into it. Again, it's fascinating, and then being able to watch and be like, oh, I see how this person got to that, distinction, and I see how this person read into it in that way, and I see how this person came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay, this hits so many layers that, and also, I mean, when you have something that there's someone that's gonna be like, it's awful for this reason. Okay, you're gonna have how many of us come out of the woodwork to be like, okay, let's see if they're right or wrong. We're gonna go watch it to see if they're right or wrong. Like,
Yeah.
we're curious. And you
That is
know
the
what?
danger
It's
sometimes.
it's still something that's spreading the word.
hmm
And
Like the only bad publicity is like no publicity. Like people talking
mm-hmm.
about it negatively is still talking about it. And I think sometimes people forget
Yep.
that. Like if you're talking about it, it's still getting attention and it's still opening the conversation. And in this
And
case,
someone's gonna say they hate it for this reason, and someone's gonna be like, oh, but that sounds good.
yep,
Like,
yep. And of course, our main arc here is Rumi hiding who she is, which again, spoiler alert, guys, we already warned you once, so we're just gonna go there with it. I don't think it's off. I don't think it's hard to see. By the way, like I wasn't like super shocked. Um, so the idea in this world is there's an underworld with demons, and then these three singers are there to like create this magical energy shield they continue to create called the Han Moon, which protects everyone from the underworld demons. And they also go and slay them, both with singing and with magical glowy swords and fantastic hairstyles. And sometimes also in their sweatpants, because I love the realism with it's like sometimes you look great and sometimes you're going out in your sweatpants and sneakers. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, thank you for really understanding life. So,
And your teddy bear and choo choo train pajama pants.
yeah, sometimes you just can't change clothes. And so Rumi, the whole thing is that she's half demon. This is never explained. I understand for the PG rating why they don't
Backstory.
explain this.
We need the backstory.
Well,
I
again, I
need
don't
the
know.
backstory.
I
They
know.
posted pictures. They posted actual pictures of her mom and her dad. Like, we have seen the
Really?
storyboard of this. I need the backstory.
And
Okay.
so if we're
Mm,
talking about
sorry.
tropes, it's really funny
I
because
have no emotions here.
I was watching one video. It was cinema therapy, and they're like, "Oh, it's like Elsa." I'm like, "No, it's not like Elsa." You guys,
I mean,
I love the guys at cinema
magic,
therapy. They
magic,
make me.
braid.
It's a
I
very
could,
thin.
I could see
I
how they would draw that from that right there. They
I
both have
love
braids.
cinema
They both
therapy,
sing.
but they're a little bit. I think it was just the argument wasn't quite there for that for me. Honestly, from the urban fantasy background and the demon hunting background, which oh my goodness, like demon hunting is kind of like a whole section of urban fantasy. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what you do, and I'm like, oh, she's like a dampier or something like that. Like that happens all the
Yeah.
time in urban fantasy. If anyone who's into urban fantasy and hasn't seen this, you need to see it just for that, even if you're not into the whole Korean thing, because like the tropes are there. Like that's a very I don't think they set out to write like an urban fantasy thing, but there's lots of crossover tropes between Western urban fantasies and then this kind of stuff in K dramas and K-pop stuff. So you just need to see it. And so I'm like, oh, it's like a dampier thing. She's half one, half the other, and usually one side is good and one side is bad, or maybe not, or maybe is. And that's sort of where things fall apart here a bit, and why there's so much opening for this because how you handle a half and half story like that. I mean, good grief, there have been whole stories that are just all about, I'm half this and I'm half that, and what do I do? Dampiers are a very popular thing of I'm half good and I'm half bad and I'm going to brood now. Or usually, I mean, courtesy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they usually go and stab things instead.
I mean, I feel like this is a
And
fair
she's not even a
coping
dampier.
mechanism.
She's just like a destined savior, but still like we have that vibe there.
Yep.
But in
Yep.
this case, the confusing part comes in is it's like she's supposed to accept her demon side, but also demons are still bad and we still kill them. And I mean, this came up over and over again. Some people are like, wait, but if the story is about self-acceptance, but she's killing the demons because they're still bad ultimately, that's kind of confusing. There's the question
I
again,
mean, I just
yeah.
I have questions about Celine. Okay, Celine's telling her that we steal the Han Moon and the patterns will disappear. Bro, how do you know that the patterns are going to disappear? How do you know this is going to work? Because if she's half demon,
Mm-hmm.
And we're
That's
sealing. Does
genetic.
this mean half of her is gone? Because genetically speaking, physically speaking, this would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a reason why we don't want this to happen.
Well, yeah, and as someone who does a lot of stuff, like a lot of my books are being half this, half that. It's kind of a trope I do these days. So I focus a lot on like the halves of this. It's like she's
A good
half
trope.
demon, but she has like no demon superpowers except she has the patterns, except suddenly the
Mm-hmm.
superpowers show up because maybe she was suppressing it. Like, I guess that's the whole conceal, don't feel, but we never see her really losing control. She just can't use her voice.
But
And
she
then
opens up with Genu and she's suddenly putting voice to that shame. She's putting voice to this is part of me. And I feel like it's that accepting factor right there of having to be like, yeah, okay, like you don't know me. Like that whole bit, that's where it's that little bit of accepting to get to the point of having the powers and everything. That's just the
yeah,
theory that's currently
we
been
need
running
more
around
demon
our
world
bedroom
building.
table.
I mean, shoot,
Yes.
if we're gonna do this, like as someone who's written Dan Pierce and stuff, the way it works, especially if you want to play it like they're bad, but also there can be redeemed and this thing and that thing. If you want to play that, you got to have more world building to do that, or otherwise, it's basically like they're the demons in this story were roughly mostly portrayed kind of like PG animated cartoon villains, except
Well,
for the
they're also
Saja
based off
boys.
Korean. They're also based off Korean mythology. I
Yeah.
mean, we have the three different types here. We have the imps and everything, which is the ones like the
Yep.
colors and the masks. We have them. We have the ones that are kind of the reapers, and if you will, which are the Saja boys and everything. And then we have the faceless ones, which are those ones that kind of blurble out and everything from Guima. And so those are all from the Korean legends and mythology. And so if you follow into that, then it makes a bit more sense for some of it. But it's still in time. It seems like they've established enough in the movie that if one of the girls, one of the hunters slices someone and sends them back, they can still come back at some point. Like
Yep.
Grima can
They
still send them back.
they
So that
regen.
means certain people aren't actually dead. So, which I have a child who's very happy that Mystery is not dead because he is apparently Mystery and the other one is apparently Abby. None
Oh
of them have
goodness.
abs for the record. Um, it's like the scrawniest toothpick of an Abby you've ever seen in your life. But like they're very pleased when they realize this. I had already realized it. I just didn't want to say anything. But then they connected the dots and they're like, we're quote, we're coming back in the next one. Sure, bud.
Yep. So we need
So
more stuff. And they are saying they're going to get us another movie and everything. So there's that. Although it'll be interesting because right now they've left the world building so open ended. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But the world building so open ended that you can say it's Christian vibes, even unintentionally. You can read into demonic
yes.
occult and horrible unintentionally. You can read into it the persecution of a specific subcultural group that you
Yes.
belong to. You can read that into it, whichever group it is. You can read that into it. You can read into it the DM parts about addictions. That's what cinema therapy was playing into, or fighting bad choices. Genu really brought that in a lot.
Yes.
You could also read into the it's innate, which, by the way, addictions and struggles versus innate are two very different vibes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be some world building interestingness to try to make those two play with each other. And even in that particular review I was watching, they're like, yeah, we're not sure how they're going to balance this because this is a different vibe from this. Like it being innate is a different thing from that. And then there's something out the self acceptance, accepting who you are, flaws and all, but then with the understanding that you are going to change. But the problem is because they wanted a super happy ending and they ended it so fast. You got the vibe of acceptance, but you did not get the vibe of any kind of struggle or having to like what that being half demon is actually going to do to her or the kind of things that she's going to have to work through because they had to end it so fast. And so I'm like,
Yep.
it did end what? Like that was kind of abrupt. Like, but that's
And I mean, thinking of the themes, like with the shame and Selena always being like, no, like we can't, like, we're not sharing this. You're not telling the girls. We're not like all that. And okay, how many times have any of us ever had growing up, being like, no, no, no. I know you're feeling this, but we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to show this. Like this is something that no one has to know. And like, what is one of the things that happens? Like, so she hides it because Celine tells her she can't share it with Rumi. She can't share it. Like, Rumi can't share it with Mira or Zoe. Like, she has to keep that in. And so she's turning down opportunities to go hang out with her friends. She's turning down all these things. And when things finally come to light and everything, it's like, oh, what does Celine want to do? She still wants to hide it. She wants to tell them that's a lie. She wants to make another lie and like lie upon lie, like compounding this. And I appreciate Rumi being like, no, no more of this. Like, we've been doing the lying, we've been doing the hiding. This this isn't right. Like, this is who I am, and I have to just enough. It's done. Like, the cat is out of the bag. It's done. And then being able to go and her friends reaccepting her and not being this like, oh, you horrible liar, how dare you. It was this, we missed each other, like this bond, this friendship, this sisterhood, forgiveness, and talking them like with my kids, like talking about like, okay, why was she lying? Was that right or was that wrong? Was Celine right or wrong in telling her to keep it hidden and telling her again, to lie? Like, oh, they all know we're going to lie anyways. Like, is this right? Is this wrong? Like, let's look at this from just a general societal standpoint and let's look at this biblically. Like,
Yeah.
are we supposed to hide lies with lies? Plot twist, no, we're not. Like, okay, the honesty and okay, there's many a thing that we've all experienced that brings shame. And some of the best ways to get rid of that is to find people that you can talk with and be honest with and share that burden and be like, it's not actually the burden that I thought it was. Like, that is a powerful theme. And that was one that you can kind of see and trace through the movie. And I love that. Like, this is something that, frankly, I'm assuming Disney is not going to watch this. Like, certain things with, Disney, they could
Don't
work
bring the
on.
mouse house on us.
Like, they could work on some of these themes. Like, dude, let's have honesty. Like, let's have talking about these hard things and sharing it with our friends and being open, being vulnerable. Like, how dare you? I'm an American and I'm saying I want to be vulnerable.
Oh,
Like,
no, it's
let's
a
be
thing.
vulnerable. Let's talk about this is a struggle. Let's talk about this is something that I have been struggling with. She's been struggling with, she's supposed to hide this because whether she wanted to or not, the person who is the leader behind them is saying you have to hide this. Like, she obeyed that even though it was the wrong choice and it caused all of these things. But then we see that come out and then like the no, I was wrong. And she has that line about like in darkness, meets when darkness meets the light and everything. That's a beautiful line. Okay, that's just a beautiful line. And the no fears, no lies. Like, that's who we're born to be. Like, that's something that I feel like certain folks could use more of in their life.
I would
I could
agree
go
with
on this for a
that.
while. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I mean, I don't do these live streams to like not have people discuss and gush and all of that's part of the point of this. So you are great.
You're
And I
gonna get
agree
me
there's a lot
gushing a
of
lot more than you want.
there are a lot of things you say I absolutely agree with. And I think it's really easy to see that in them. And so I think the only question is kind of wrapping up the whole area of what you can see into it and the things that are there. And honestly, there is an interesting sense of trying to figure out the morality of it because I don't shy away from morality in stories because good versus evil means you know what morality is. Like, that's just how it goes. It's not like being preachy. It's literally called if you are having someone who is bad and someone who is good, you are making moral decisions here with your story. That is what we're doing, which is also interesting because in some ways I could see that blend between maybe more Western ideas versus
Yeah.
more of the Asian ideas. Again, Kang's trying to figure that out herself. Like, because sometimes I could see more of the honor shame kind of thing versus also what is right and wrong and what is just and lying is wrong and that kind of stuff, which can sometimes conflict with honor shame, which is
Yes.
hiding your shame. So I could see that blend there, which was really interesting. So I think my only concern, I kind of don't want more movies, weirdly enough, because right now it is so interestingly open ended that you can have these conversations.
Yeah, that is the
I
thing.
think once you move ahead, they're going to have to make decisions about it, about where they're going to stand on things. They're going to have to nail more things down.
Yes.
And I think when that happens, it will be interesting to see what choices they have to make, what doors they have to close. And if anyone, like, I would be very nervous if I was Netflix people right now saying, oh, yes, we're going to green light all this stuff, but also you have to try to make this successful, but as successful as the first one. But
No
also
pressure.
understanding that with storytelling choices, you're going to have to actually close some doors and open others. This wonderful open discussion of it could be this and it could be that. By necessity, you're going to have to shut some doors because you
I
have to keep
think a
telling the
prequel is
story.
their safest bet for sure because
Yes.
that
Oh,
gives us a lot
yes.
of the backstory for things that, frankly, a lot of us want. And that means people can make really good or really bad decisions. And as long as it peacefully leads up in an accurate way to this movie, we're good. Whether it's a right decision or a wrong decision, this is how where it was when we started, and so that's where it's going to have to be. But if they do a sequel, I'm I can see many a group out there want to lobby for
A certain
having it go this way
perspective.
or that way. Don't you dare this way. Don't you dare that way. And I don't want to see the politicky side go into this.
And I could
I
see
want
that. I
this to
mean,
be the
honestly, I think
beautiful
it's
just
already
story.
happening to some respect because of, and I mean, this is the only way I'll mention politics is literally saying the word politics, and y'all know that. Like, I don't get into any of that myself. That's not what I do. But
Yeah,
there is a whole
politics.
part of subculture that is very much like, but everything must be politics. And so we must
Yeah.
put into everywhere. And and
I'm
that's all
really
you're going to get from
hoping
me. I'm just going to
because
give you like an incoherent noise of vague disagreement with that right now. I don't think I think starting from a place of, again, I like to start from a place of truth, understanding that that itself is maybe some people see as political because truth is political. I don't see that. I see truth as objective, but it's just going to get messy. And I kind of want to live in this happy bubble
I'm
before.
hoping that Maggie can live in a happy bubble, the one that she was in when she was writing in the first place, and she can
Yeah.
just tune out everything. And that way, if she has to work on this, I hope she does, then it can just be in that same whatever comes from her and nothing else. No outside voices. But it also took her 9 years to work on this, so
Oh,
I
no,
don't know
no,
if I
no, no,
can
no, no,
wait
no.
that long.
Do you know what we're gonna? I mean, y'all, if y'all want to pray, like she's hitting her adolescence. Author adolescence is brutal. We all know what that
Uh-huh.
is from an author thing. When a baby author has their
Uh-huh.
first thing get huge, and they say, "Oh yeah, that baby you wrote in 9 years. We need it in 9 months, preferably
Uh-huh.
6." And you're just like the
I'm
brain
nervous on her
explodes.
behalf.
Oh, and they start bringing in like the
Yeah.
whole writer's room to say, how can we make you do this faster and automate it and
Uh-huh.
everything? And that is not, it's not great.
I literally have been praying for her and her sanity. Like,
I do not wish that on anyone. That is the worst
oh.
kind of author adolescence is having your first thing blow up huge and then
Into a
suddenly,
worldwide phenomena too.
yeah.
Like, this isn't just a little
Oh,
nation going, yay, this is global.
okay. Now, flipping to something a little bit fun. Well, I mean, this is all fun because it's fun. But visually, this one was a treat. Like the visuals alone make me
So
so
pretty.
happy. Okay. In the
So
chat
pretty.
box, shout out who loved the cat because I want one of those.
Derpy Tiger is my
I
favorite.
want
Okay.
Derpy Tiger. I love it. He reminded me, and I know they pulled him from some old artwork, some old like Korean artwork, but also
Actual
it all just,
traditional.
yes,
I
it
have little
also gave me
stickers.
Studio Ghibli art vibes, and I love my Studio Ghibli vibes. So happy, and I want a stuffed plushie. I do. So anyone out there, if you want to send me a stuffed plushie
Okay.
of Derpy Cat, I will receive it.
I have been waiting because every time Netflix has had Derpy Tiger on their shop, it has sold out before I can finish inputting my information. Every single time. I
my
I
goodness.
need Derpy Tiger to sit in my
I
car and
know.
go on adventures with me around
Oh,
town.
RJ Conte looks. I like the bird too. I like them both. I think they
Susu's
work better too.
adorable.
Susu's pet. I mean, I just love that they went in that direction. That was just beautiful. Like those scenes, those visuals were just like exceptional. Like just screenshot every
Yes.
single one because of how pretty they are. The
Hmm,
use of
hmm.
magic, the use of like the Han Moon, just
No.
the sounds and everything, and then the incorporation of like the anime style like visuals and
Yes.
facial expressions and everything was just, it was beautiful. It made me
I don't know if you
happy.
all have watched any of the documentary type things, the behind the scenes, or like here's video editors and special effects guys doing commentaries on watching it through, or if you've done the ones where here's professional voice actors and opera singers and they're listening to the music and commenting on it. But if you haven't, you really should, because I was already loving it all, but listening to these professionals that listen to it and hearing them absolutely geek out and get giddy over different things, they're like, "What?" Oh, it is a delight upon a delight upon a delight. It is the best thing ever, and it makes you appreciate it so much more than you already do. So I'm just gonna put that out there that if you have not, you should, and it's educational. You can say it's a school thing. So
Nerd life and geek life is loving your commentaries, your backstories, your behind the scenes, and
yes,
all of that. Like that is what you do. That is where we are.
yep, and it's
And
how you learn and grow.
yeah, that's what we're calling it. Yep. It's cultural.
Yeah,
Totally. Um,
it's a thing. It's such it.
it's totally a thing. Absolutely. Also, like random connecting point with the Saja boys and everything, which by the way, they also worked really hard to nail K-pop culture, and I love seeing that. I
Oh,
was
they did
watching a
so
video
good with that.
where like a former K-pop star
Oh,
was actually watching. He's like, "No, that's legit. No, that's legit.
hmm.
No, like that. Like this is all like he says carb loading before a 4 hour concert. It's like that's what you do. Like he's like that just all makes sense.
And I mean, also in Korean culture for K-pop, like they're referred to as idols.
Yes,
Like
they are.
that is your title. That is your job description.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something like because my kids were like, why are they idols? I'm like, no, because this is an actual cultural title.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of playing off it and even more. But yeah, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, and there is a certain level of responsibility with it. It almost reminded me how
mhm.
like and the idea of like Huntrix being like the good positive responsibility of it, which is all about the fans, and then like of course Saja Boys are all in it for themselves. Like I love the
We're gonna
soda
eat
pop
the
song because
fans.
I'm like, yeah, they're like, we're gonna drink you up. I'm like, yeah, that's great. We want to do that, don't we? Like, and then of course the actual song "Your Idol" is just like completely mask off, and they're just totally like. It worked really well. Like, was it on the nose? Yes. I don't care. I don't care because sometimes songs are on the nose, but it reminded me a bit also of um, tie in like different culture, but it's in a nearby country, Japan, and how they view like their emperors and stuff like that, and
Hmm,
how they're there to serve
hmm.
the people. Their job is to the people, and same with I know with celebrities in South Korean culture. It's not the same as ours. I mean, it's actually a tiny bit like being Mouse House, where you have to have a certain image all the time. And you see
Yeah.
like these stars who go through Disney and then have their time where they get edgy because through Disney they had to sign all these contracts to be super
Yep.
squeaky clean. In that way, it's the same way they're kind of very packaged and
Hmm.
they have a lot of
They start
responsibilities.
pastel and sugar coated and sweet,
Hmm.
and then they get to a certain point where they've done enough time that now
Hmm.
they can be edgy, now they can be dark, now they can be this.
In a certain way. In a certain way.
It's similar vibes with just K-pop in general. Like if
Hmm.
you've watched any of the K-pop bands over the years, like you can see this trajectory
Hmm. Hmm.
consistently.
Yeah. So they nailed that down really, really well. And also just the whole song about soda pop. And they'd be like, oh, well, they don't actually, pop bands don't make this kind of songs. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to show my 90s kid thing here. The song Larger Than Life by the Backstreet Boys is literally a love song to their fans. And it went
Yes,
huge in the 90s and
it
is
was
literally a love
huge.
song. Like
Yes.
I looked at the lyrics and I'm like, wait, this is literally just thanking their fans for idolizing them and
Hmm.
screaming.
Now,
Wow.
I have to ask. In your research, did you take the time to look up the Korean translations for the lyrics and all the different songs.
Not all of them, some of them. I love
Okay.
the ballad. The ballad was like everything. I love that ballad. That's a gorgeous ballad. Um,
Because I have gotten to the point now. I am nerd and I embrace this. I don't care. One, I am now learning the Korean to sing with all of them because that's just how
oh
you do.
no, that is how
And
you
on
do. Like I
top
have,
of
I'm not
that,
quite there
I
yet,
now
but I
have it
probably will
mentally
be.
translating that when I am singing it in the Korean, I know what it is I am singing. And there's some I'm just like, how did the audience not realize that these are warning bells? These are the red lights. These are the red flags that your mom
Yep.
warns you about. Like, because I mean,
Yep.
they're an idol, so they're awesome.
Yep.
I,
No,
I
that
know
is
I'd
a
be in the
thing.
audience. I would be there in the audience. I know
No.
myself well enough.
I was raised from an early age to check out lyrics and then go, nah, I'm good. But I'm a rebel. That's what I am.
I
Like I
I
just like I
mean,
don't care.
I was raised to do the same thing, read the lyrics and then be like, no, this isn't for me. And I'd be like, no, this is for me. Like, I was the rebel in that regard. Like, I recognize this is bad news. That's okay.
We were just gonna go with it anyway.
I
No,
know what part of the audience I'd be in. I wouldn't be here then.
no, no. I mean, I'm more of like I will rebel against everyone just because you can't tell me what to think. So anytime it's like, oh, do this or kneel here, I'm like, nah, you can't tell me what to do. I'm not
You're
gonna
too
do that.
hipster for that.
No, I'm not even hipster. I'm just stubborn. I think that's the word.
Hipster.
I have no record players yet, and my only thick
I will
glasses are
send
for
one to
blue
you for
light.
Christmas.
Oh, actually, that would be okay with me because I did grow up also listening to records. Like, no joking. My parents were like kind of music snobs in the best ways, and like they were all about like records have good sound. So,
That's a
um,
thing.
it is a thing. All right, now talking about genres and how this thing is like a genre mashup. So, of course, we have, and she says this, we have Sailor Moon vibes. Just putting it out there. There are Sailor Moon vibes.
I could definitely see that
There's
very
yep.
much.
We also have absolute like anime vibes, and we have vibes from K drama, and we have screenshots that are taken from Studio Ghibli films. And I will fight you on this because I'm like, I have seen that.
You can tell there's Studio Ghibli nerds and everything that were working on this, and they're like, let's see if anyone's going to notice if we sneak this in. The fandom is
Those
going to notice.
those
Okay,
certain
we're going to
shots around the
notice.
very pretty male face with like the hair fluttering in a certain way, and you're like, that's from Howl's Moving Castle. I know what that looks like.
Yeah, yeah. I had a son who asked me and everything, do they make hair products like that? Honey, I hate to break your teenage heart, but no, they don't make hair products that do that.
They don't. You have to have it naturally. Sorry, kiddo. So we have
Sorry,
all of
you weren't born with
that.
it.
We have K-pop stuff going on here. We have very strong urban fantasy trope stuff, which again, I don't think they were intentionally pulling from it. I think it's just one of those things where just, different parts of the world will still tell stories that mesh over. And they're very strong. I mean, you have demon hunters who were also pop singers. Like this happens a lot.
It's a good mashup.
Also, because you have Broody McBroody Pants and he's 400 years old.
I am so
And
glad I didn't drink my water at that moment. That would have not ended well.
that is such an urban fantasy couple vibe. You have no idea. Like in urban fantasy things are
So
like,
true.
why does the guy have to be that much older than the girl? And I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't have to be all the
Because
time.
he needs things to brood about and regret. And,
Yeah.
it needs to draw her in that
Oh
way.
yeah, sexy, cocky, disarming, broody is like a vibe a
Yeah.
lot of times.
And it
Soulful,
works.
soulful bad boy who thinks he lost his soul is a vibe. Hello, Angel. I'm looking at you. Um,
Not wrong.
And then we also have dual identities, which also hit some superhero vibes. Like not as strong as the others, but with the very idea of like having, the whole thing on one end and the whole like, we're pop stars on the one end, and then we do this on the other end. I mean, my goodness, isn't that like Josie and the Pussycats from the '70s cartoon, where it's like they're singers? That's a really random connection. I just thought that, so I'm not sure how close that is, but maybe think of
I
okay,
mean,
are there singers who are also detectives or also this? I don't know. Um, so the point is, you got a lot of different stuff going on here. And then, of course, because of the older younger thing and because of her being super powerful, but also angsty. And then we have a potential love interest, which never goes very far because we are PG here, people. It is very, very PG with that, which I'm okay with.
Yes.
I like
And
it when they
also,
say it's PG and it is actually PG.
and can we side note on that even? Like for being something, because I was uncertain of this for something for my kids to watch because I'm like, okay, if we're doing Korean pop stuff and everything, how sexy are they going to be? What are they going to do with the outfits? What are
I
they
like
going to
the
do with their
stabby
attitude?
abs. I like how she's like,
Okay,
I
I'm sorry, but that was one of the best things ever between the popcorn and then the like the stabification, the popcorn. Like I loved the whole thing. But I mean, we have women that they're girls. They're silly. They love food. They pig out on food. I love them. Like they're kick butt. They're feminine. They're all the things, and it wasn't done in a way that made me as a woman and a mom of oh my gosh, she's a teenager, of boys, like it did make me cringe, be like, I don't know if I can show this to them. Like it was done in a way that stayed true to K-pop and to the singer lifestyle and all the things, and yet it was still aggressively PG,
Mhm.
which is amazing. And that is actually the one thing I'm concerned about specifically, aside from story and aside from world. If they make a sequel or prequel, will they keep that? Because right
I don't
now,
I don't
it's
know how they
beautiful.
can. I want them
I
to.
don't know.
I'm
I want them
just
to.
I do market research and then I get cynical in my old age of 38 because like just because like it's hard to do. There's so many
It
times where
is.
the sequel tries to continue it and it's just really impossible to do. So I hope they do, but I don't know. But then also,
Yeah.
and I'll say this is the final trope I see, and I think you'd have to read into a lot. But if you are a romantasy reader who likes the vibes of the stabby girl and the soulful cocky guy, well, guess what? I'm sorry, ladies. He doesn't have a training scene with her, but other
No.
which actually
No.
a training scene is also an urban fantasy trope. I can leave that one at the door, but that is a thing. But I think that's a trope, like a genre pileup,
Oh,
which makes so much
yes.
sense. It's like we have anime, K drama, K pop, Sailor Moon, urban fantasy, superheroes, romantasy vibes. If you really want to read into it, it's also incredibly PG appropriate, gorgeous
There's something
visuals,
for everyone.
great music. Like they just piled this on. Like
Yeah. There is something for everyone, which actually, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, maybe my dad would actually enjoy this. Maybe we will inflict this upon, my dad sometime soon.
I don't
Because
know.
there
I'll
is
have to
something
see.
for everyone. And there's certain things I could see my dad is not the most culturally nerdy in this particular vibe. And I feel like a lot would go over his head. But there's different things that I could see him gravitating to me like, okay, I can appreciate that though. And that's kind of cool. Like there is enough. I think we're gonna inflict this upon my dad soon.
My mom is visiting
Pray
this
for my dad.
weekend. So I don't know. Maybe we'll try like the first 5 minutes and then we'll go over to Star Trek because I can't really falter and I haven't seen the third season of Star Trek Discovery yet. So that is a possibility. But maybe we'll like try the first 5 minutes and see how she does. Because you also
I need to
have
get
to
to
like,
25 watches.
I mean, you really do. You have goals here. At this point, I'm just going to say, like, don't be a quitter, Becky.
I need to finish this. I need a scorecard, man. Hey,
Oh,
Netflix
man.
has had record watches on this, and
They
I have helped do
have.
my part. Okay, I have
There we
helped
go.
with that.
You have moved the needle. We've had like 930 million minutes of watch time in its 10th week. That's a lot of minutes, guys. That's a lot
I
of minutes.
helped.
Becky contributed to this. Like a good chunk of
This is
those
my
minutes were
crowning achievement. Even if I'm doing this, I'm thinking Bobby, and yay! Because everything has been Saja Boy. It's gonna be Huntrix, 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 yay! That's my brain. I have seen this that many times that a simple physical motion makes me connect to the movie.
I
I
mean,
might
it is
have
a vibe.
problems.
It is a vibe.
Can I also just side squirrel on Bobby real fast?
Go
Because
ahead.
how often do we get a movie where we have such authentically written girls, and we have a Bobby is not a main character. He's not one of the Saja boys, but he's there, and he's not he's not toned down as like, oh, he's emasculated. He's not the comedic relief. He's not given the like, okay, well, you're just gonna be, the class clown for, that role. Like, yes, he does not know what the girl's actual, hunter job is. He has no idea. He is just a project manager, and I'm willing to bet he was given this role by Celine and just being told like they have other things in life aside from this. You're just gonna have to smile and nod and accept it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to bet that's somewhere in his contract because he does that very well, very good job. But he's so supportive of the girls. He is so authentically just. I mean, they're practicing for Golden and he's doing the dance moves with them and he smacks the camera guy. Like, that's amazing because I have seen people who work with, groups like this and they actually do things like that. Like, this is accurate. And he is delightful. We love Bobby in this house. Like, we are huge Bobby fans because we actually have someone who, like, this is his role in supporting them, and he's good at it. He is not a fumbling, bumbling, like, oh, he's just here so we can laugh at someone. Like, it's so refreshing to have characters that are good at what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not the weak link that if it wasn't for this particular character being so bad at this thing, everything would have fallen apart. Like, it's not in that kind of way at all. And that's so lovely to see. So, I had a kid who told me he wants to be Bobby when he grows up, where he supports
Well,
people as
you
well as
also
Bobby
had
does.
Ken Jeong voicing him, which I heard it right away. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
goodness, I love that actress. Like, I
Yes.
love, oh my goodness, like that. And I'm sure he had a
And
ball
reading
too.
his interview about Bobby was adorable. So,
Like that, he is highly underrated for what he's capable of doing and everything. So that was just, and I
yes.
agree, he wasn't played for the full. Like he definitely wasn't a
Hmm.
main character, but he wasn't played for the full. And again, this was a really tight. They couldn't include many side characters. Shoot, even Celine. Celine didn't
Yeah.
have much to do because they. Did I mention out there, viewers and listeners? It is a really tight runtime. You will feel it. You're just gonna go, wait, what just
Boom,
happened?
boom, boom,
Like
boom.
that.
Dun.
Like I was watching it with my husband, and he can pull out tropes like in nobody's business. It's a very strangely, wonderfully attractive thing. So we're like, oh wait, this is gonna happen. Oh wait, look at that. I bet she's gonna. Yep, there she is. Like he
Hmm.
just kind of
Hmm.
goes through it all, and he heard me say that because he's in the room gaming. He's like laughing, but at the end he's like, that was really wow. You just and wait that by that happened. That scene by sudden but
Hmm.
inevitable betrayal that just went
Like,
right by. So it is a fast movie, which is good because then you can watch it fast. And if you're like Becky, you can watch it another 25 times fast. So in wrapping this up with all the things we've gone out here with this movie, this
oh gosh.
crazy phenomenon and what it's been there, let's see what kind of takeaways we've done all the gushing and the geekiness. And I mean, as we're talking about this, you can go on more rabbit trails. But as we're wrapping this up, and we know that we have authors out there too who are like looking at this and going, what is one like sort of takeaway that you can say, hey, authors, this kind of proves that you can get away with this, or this proves that this is a thing, or that this is not, this is something worth trying. This is something that you can dive into versus if it's writing, marketing, whatever.
I mean, one of the things that I constantly think about when I'm watching it is there's nuances throughout where just the authenticity of the character in that moment, and that ties back to the vulnerability. Like, as an author, being willing to put your heart on the page and being willing to be like, no, this is going to be a rough thing. And like, I mean, they're on a tight time frame here where they couldn't go into things really deep. But as an author, we're the ones that get to also work with our editor on what stuff is going to go in there or not. And being willing to be like, hey, this is a subject that this is going to be difficult to broach, but I'm going to do it. And we're going to just spill that all there. And my character is going to work through that. Like, we didn't get to have Rumi work through so many things in this movie just because it's a tight time frame. But as an author, you do have that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
You do get to be like, hey, this is going to be a theme and we're going to run with it. And that is something that I know at least for myself and other friends I've talked with recently, that's what we want in our books right now. We've had a lot of sugar coated stuff. We've had a lot of sweet things or things that are so dark, so gritty. There is no hope in it. And we're kind of sick of that. Like, we want to go over and tackle the tough topics, but we also want to have that hope. We want to have something redeemable, some sort of, I mean, even thinking of like Gino at the end of there, like that sacrifice and everything, like we want to have something noteworthy, something praiseworthy, something that makes you go back to and be like, I want to watch the lead up of this because I know this is going to hurt, but it's going to hurt so good and there's a payoff. Like that is something that you see in this movie. And that is something that I've seen quite a few books do that well, and quite a few books that I don't know where your editor was, but they failed you. Like, so as authors, like, we, especially for those of us who are in the indie sphere to any degree, like, we have that ability to take that time and craft that well. And hopefully not take 9 years, but hopefully I say this knowing that I have edits from 2019 and we're getting close to 9 years now. Like, so, but taking that time to do something like that is excellent. Like that is definitely a factor right there. And the themes of hope and love and trust and honesty, where so many times you see stories where there's that one character, and if that one character just said something, the whole deck of cards falls. Having it where like, okay, so even if this character tells this is a thing and that's a thing, and they're still having to work through this, like having those fully rounded characters is fantastic because even if we don't see much screen time with them, you still know that they're fully there and they're not just a cardboard cutout going like, I'm this person, you know.
Yep. I
So
love that. I love that. So yeah, don't be afraid to put the depth into it. And yes, we're saying this on a podcast about K-pop Demon Hunters, which I'm sure like, oh, well, that's the fluffy Demon Hunters movie with all the sparkly stuff and the sparkly pink demon magic, which yes, there is sparkly pink demon magic in this one,
we love
which
it. You love to see
that
it.
definitely I'm feeling some Sailor Moon with that and some anime stuff because they're not afraid to make it pink. Versus our Western things like that's not this. Like, and to be fair, your idol like definitely has the properly like red and black and skulky Grim Reaper vibes, but there's also pink demon magic. But the point is, don't be afraid to layer those things in there, even if you're doing something that's on the lighter side. There's room for both, and it takes luck
Yes.
to get it. And maybe not every book is going to have it. Not everything's going to land. You heard us talking about like, we love this one. We don't know what the next one's going to be, but don't let that stop you from trying. Don't let it stop you from trying to do those crazy, messy, wonderful things. Be smart about genres. This one definitely was really genre smart. And I'm not sure how much of that was the core author and how much was the producer saying, can we like squeeze it like a little bit of a scotch in this way? Okay, good. Okay, good. Yes, you can have your authenticity, but also let's just kind of nudge it into the genre. Either way, it really worked well. But those two things aren't at war with each other. And this movie really showed that you can do both and both can do well. I think in our brains, it's always easy to hear that negativity of, but this one didn't, and this one didn't, and this one didn't. And this person says, oh, it doesn't work. You have to just go directly to like cotton candy fluff or dark. You can't do that mix up. It just won't do it. But let's remember all the successes like this movie where it does work and all those books where it does work and it's worth it. And don't be afraid to shy away from those harder questions in your fun stories because they really are the core of it. And that's the one thing with this that I don't know how they're going to handle in future movies, but this movie did ask some hard questions about what is good and what is not good. What is good, what is evil, what is right and what is wrong. I mean, when you have people hunting demons, you don't go stabbing things that you think are just mildly bad. You stab things that you believe are evil. That's just kind of how it goes. Like, and
Anything else is frowned upon. This is a true fact.
it's not. Let's not go there. Yeah, we don't believe in that. No. But the point is like understanding that and understanding that always has a place in stories. You're always making some kind of choice with that. That's not like a heavy-handed preacher thing. That's called being human. and having to show those choices in storytelling. So,
And Constellation says it well. Sometimes you actually need that lighter side to accentuate and showcase the deeper stuff in the best way. Absolutely true. Like that contrast, sometimes that's what you need to make something go
yeah.
from here's a point to boom, this.
Yes.
And
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
beautiful.
Constellation's just a smart cookie. So, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Love you, Constellation. All right. Thank you so much again for showing up on the podcast for this live
Thanks
stream.
for having me.
And definitely going to have to bring you back on for Minecraft stuff. And below, if any of you guys are interested in Minecraft live stream, when this is on YouTube, I will put her information below so you can follow that because why not? I'm sure it's just as awesome and fantastic. And
It's a
again,
hoot.
and all of you out there who are listening and watching to this, your existence is fantastic. Go forth and be awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye. And we